I bought this Mini Cooper S as a non-runner.
And after stripping the entire front end to replace a broken alternator, I got the engine running.
But just because this car starts does not mean that I can actually drive it.
That's because it's been off the road for over 3 years and needs the rest of its problems taken care of.
And if I can fix them, I'm going to attempt to drive this car today. The first job that I'm not looking forward to at all is the oil leak that I found on this engine. If you look down the back, you can actually see all the oil has been dripping from up the top. Everything up here is wet, so that normally means that it's the rocker cover gasket, and the rocker cover gaskets on these cars are a massive pain because, I don't know how well you can see, if you look down there, all of the rocker cover bolts, it's a common thing on these cars, they all rot and go, well, they just turn into nothing, and they're an absolute nightmare to try and extract and get out. I have got brand new bolts to go in, but the hard job is going to be getting these ones out. I'm not looking forward to it. For the past week, while I've not been very well, I've just been soaking them every single day in WD-40, so I'm hoping that maybe they're kind to me, but this isn't going to be fun. First job, remove the intercooler, then we've got all these kind of ancillaries to remove as well, and then we can start trying to get them bolts out.
To get access to all of them rocker cover bolts, I need to remove the intercooler, so I'm going to start by undoing the few Torx bolts that are holding down these little rubber clamps, and then I can get the intercooler up and out of the way. And now it's onto the HT leads. And now those 4 10mm bolts are undone, I can unplug each one of the coils and then move the HT leads completely out of the way. Next, I'm just going to start removing all the components around this rocker cover that are going to get in the way when I try and pull it off. So I'm removing the 2 vacuum hoses to the left of the rocker cover, I'm removing the PCV hoses, and of course the breather hose on top. So once the PCV hose and the breather hose are undone, I can then start undoing the 2 little brackets that are going to get in the way when I pull this rocker cover out.
Okay, everything as far as I'm aware is off that is around this rocker cover. Look at them bolts. Like, they're just disintegrating your fingers. We're just gonna have to give it a go. I have bought a bolt extractor tool, but I think this is one of them jobs that's just gonna take a while. You've got to just keep hitting smaller sockets onto the bolts. So we'll give it a go and we'll see what happens, but I'm not expecting these to all come out, definitely not.
This is probably going to take a long time. Rounded bolts are one of the worst things about working on any car, so I'm just going to start by putting the correct size socket on and just seeing if they round off or not. And eventually, 1 out of the first 4 came loose.
There we go. So far, 1 out of 4 has actually come out. This is going to be a long day.
The only thing I can do now is just go around the other bolts and just see how many can actually get out without any trouble, and just keep my fingers crossed that the majority of them do actually extract.
Well, we have had a little bit of luck. All the bolts down the back, oh actually except 1, have come out. The ones at the front, I've got 1, 2, 3 at the front that are rounded off and are not coming out, 4 that are rounded off and are not coming out, and then 1 at the back, so we've got 5 to try and extract in total. But so far I think we've done kind of well with getting all of those out, but yeah, let's see if we can get the others out.
This right here is an impact bolt extractor socket. I bought these late last night on Amazon because I thought that this would come in handy doing this job.
Oh, good tool. Good tool. What a great investment. That was a last minute thing on Amazon that last night. Oh, cracking tool. Oh, that's so good.
This is definitely one of them tools that I should have bought way sooner, but now I've got them, I'm hoping they can keep me going in the future. And after getting the ones out on the front of that rocker cover, it left me with the 1 on the back.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last one, and it's the worst out of them all because half the head's snapped. Oh my god, I don't want to look. Is that coming out or not? Is that coming out? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, we've done it! That is a great tool. Do you know what? It's very rare you buy a tool that just works. You normally buy a tool that's like, oh, it works every now and then. That has worked flawlessly. And the rocker cover, what in the world? Is that OEM? Looks like someone's had a really, really good curry in my rocker cover. We're off. What does the engine look like? It actually looks in pretty good nick, to be honest. There's no horrible scoring on any of the cams. I'm happy with that. Oh, I'm just relieved that they've all come out. I thought that was going to be a whole day's job. What's that took me? Half hour to get them all out? I'm very, very grateful for that. Right, let's get the surface cleaned up and then we can install the new rocker cover with the new gasket and that job will be done.
So I'm going to make sure that where the new gasket's going to sit on top of the engine, there's no debris and it is nice and clean. And once that's done, I can start removing the old gaskets from this rocker cover. I'm going to remove the rocker cover gasket and the 4 little O-rings that go in each cylinder hole. And of course, install the brand new ones. Now I can get the rocker cover back in place and bolt it down with the new fresh bolts. And now to finish this job, I'm going to reinstall all of the parts that we took off to get access to that rocker cover. So I'm reinstalling the HT leads that are connected to the coils, and of course putting the PCV hoses and breather hoses back in place, the 2 little vacuum hoses on the left, and of course last but not least refit that intercooler.
That is the rocker cover gasket changed and everything is now back together. Not the easiest job I've ever done for a rocker cover gasket, but it wasn't actually too hard. If you're going to do one of these, I'd definitely recommend getting yourself one of them tools that I said about earlier. Now, next job is these lights. I think these would probably fail an MOT because look at the state of them. They've gone really, really hazed and yellow, nasty and horrible, and if they don't fail an MOT, I'm pretty sure they'd be an advisory. So I'm going to get the little buffing machine out and I'm going to buff them as best as I can. I'm not going to mask them off because this chrome's all gone anodized and stuff anyway, and it'll probably look better with a polish regardless. So let's see how good we can get these lights up. Hopefully they come up pretty clear, because if they do, it will definitely make the front end look fairly modern again, to be fair. I think they really do let, well, any car down when the lights go like that. So let's see what we can do.
I'm not going to be aiming for perfection with these, but if I can make them slight bit better than what they already are, then I think that's a job well done. So I'm just going to use the drill attachment and some cutting compound and just see how good these lights can come up. This is what they look like before, and this is what they look like after. I think that is a great improvement. So I'm going to get doing the driver's side, and that's that job complete, and the front end is looking a lot better than it used to.
Although they're not perfect, they do look a lot better. They make the car look a little bit more looked after, a little bit more modern, a little bit more newer. So that's a job well done. They shouldn't now get advised or anything on the MOT. Now we're on to the next job, which is one I'm not really looking forward to, and it's one that is the main reason this car actually got parked up.
You're not supposed to be working?
Oh, well, technically I am. Yeah, let me show you. So it's through an app called TesterUp, and you can actually play games and answer surveys, and by doing that you actually earn real money. So when I was sat there playing that game, I was actually earning money, and they'll send it straight to my bank account within 24 hours. And as you can see, there's loads and loads of games that you can play to earn money. When you click one of those games, you can actually see the in-game tasks that you need to complete to earn the most amount of money. TesterUp have over a 4-star rating on Trustpilot with over 10 million users. So people do trust this app. And the best part about it is it is completely free. You can literally download the app, start playing and testing games and earn money, and it costs you not a single penny. So if you want to earn money while playing some of your favourite apps and games, then I'll leave the link to test her up in the description down below. You can click the link or scan the QR code on the screen. Right, let's actually do some work. Okay, back to it. The reason this car was parked up 3 years ago is because of this. That sounds awful. Somewhere in the exhaust system, I've been told it's the flexi. There's a brake, it's broken, and that's why this car is so ridiculously loud. So we've got to fix it. And what I've decided to buy to fix it is this. Now, we'll add everything up at the end like I said before. This is a whole new, well, manifold. It goes down to the flexi and then down through the catalytic converter and then out back to the rest of the exhaust system. So this is what we need to change. I hope this is going to fit, because it's all the way down the back there. Yeah, it's just not going to be fun, is it? So we've somehow got to get this, but the old version, up and out of the engine bay. It shouldn't be too hard as long as the bolts aren't rotten. There's 2 bolts on the flange for the midsection, and then we've got a few bolts on the manifold from the top of the engine bay. Let's give it a go, shall we?
This one's going to be yet another job on this car that Mini give you absolutely no room to work with. So I think I'm best if I just start removing some components yet again to get more access. So I'm going to remove the little block that connects the HT leads to the engine, and then I'm going to remove the coolant expansion tank and also that power steering reservoir next to it, just so I can get more access down the back of that manifold. I'm going to also take out the air intake and that heat shield so I can move the power steering reservoir and that battery terminal out of my way. The best thing to do here is to get as much room as possible with the limited room that we've got already. That way it's going to make this job a lot easier. And now with most things removed out the top of the engine bay, I thought I'd go underneath and see what the bolts look like. And this is where I found the problem. I think I've found the problem. What is this part? I think it's the cat, or the first silencer has completely just come away from the centre section. Like, that is crazy how that's just snapped off and broke. I'm not sure if, I don't know, maybe they hit something on the road and it snapped it clean off, but that is fully detached, which, to be fair, makes it a little bit easier to actually get out. So I'm not complaining with that. Getting the other one back in might be a little bit more difficult, but that has actually made my life a little bit easier. So for now, I don't actually need to unbolt anything from underneath the car. I can do that once I've got this exhaust manifold out the way. So I'm going to start by unbolting the 8 bolts holding the manifold to the engine block, which luckily all 8 of these came out really nice. And once they're out, I can unplug the 2 lambda sensors and then hopefully pull this manifold up and out of the engine bay. Yeah, that's definitely snapped. So it wasn't actually the flexi, it was the outer part of one of the silencers. Okay, the old manifold is off, and obviously this is the broken one, but I have noticed a few differences which, for how much of a pain they are to get in and out, I don't think it's worth bolting this one up and trying to fix it. The first difference is where the gasket would mate to, like the top of the manifold where it kind of bolts to the engine. This one, the new one that I bought, is way thicker than the old one. You can see the difference there. Another thing, the flexi is actually wider on the old one compared to the new one. It also doesn't have this little banjo thing, and this kind of mating point where it's previously snapped is completely different from that one. It's, yeah, these are completely it may work, I don't know, but for the sake of trying to bolt it all back together and finding out the hard way, I could leave this one completely nicely intact and just sell that on. And with the way this is broke, I could quite literally just give it to a welder
and get them to weld that back together, but make sure it's nicely like reinforced. I think that's probably the safest option. So next part, I'm going to unbolt the part that's snapped off, and then I'm going to take it to a welder and get them to weld around this part. I'm not sure if it's already been, someone might have attempted to do it from the bottom, but they've not done a great job because it's snapped again. So I think that's the best bet, so that's what I'm going to do.
Now the last thing to do to get this completely off and out of the car is to take off the catalytic converter. For this, I've got to undo these 2 bolts that are holding it to the center section, and these do not look friendly. I'm going to heat them up, and then I'm just going to try and swing off them with a ratchet and just see what happens.
Oh my God.
She'll do for me. Yeah, she'll do absolutely fine for me. With that lower bolt snapping, that's made my life easier because I'll actually be replacing both of them nut and bolts anyway. Now I'm onto the other one, which is in an even more awkward location. It's up in the exhaust tunnel, so I'm going to have to take off the exhaust mounts that are a little bit lower down the exhaust system and just break out the grinder, because of course the one that's more awkward to get to has rounded off. So I'm going to get the grinder out and just hope that I can get this off. Yes. Yes. Done. Finally. Sweet.
There we go, the cat is off, and that is the old manifold. So I'm going to take this to the welder. He's going to weld it all back together, and that way at least we get to keep the O2 sensors that we know are working, and we don't have to risk either damaging or having to try and bodge this one. It might be for a pre-facelift or a facelift or whatever, I'm not sure. Someone will probably be screaming at me in the comments telling me that this will fit, but I'd rather put what I know fits on instead of trying to make something work that I'm not too sure on. So let's take it to the welder. And we're back, and the manifold slash exhaust has been welded up, hopefully in the right orientation. I did mark it, so I'm hoping that this does fit. Okay, the hardest part is now going to be trying to get this down the back of the engine, because obviously when I pulled it out it had snapped, so it was a lot smaller. So let's give this a go. Now we've just got to do everything in reverse order, get the manifold back down this hole here, get it bolted up to the center piece, and hopefully this all goes to plan. Let's give it a go.
Okay, let's get this reinstalled so we can move on to the next jobs. I'm going to start by fitting the exhaust system together underneath the car. I'm doing this because when I bolt the rear mount back up to the chassis, it's going to hold most of the weight for that exhaust manifold. So when I'm in the engine bay, I don't have to hold the weight while I'm trying to line up those 8 manifold bolts. This way worked a lot better and it was a lot easier. I've just got to refit that mount at the back of the exhaust system, and then I can hop back into the engine bay and start lining up the 8 manifold bolts.
Okay, we're getting somewhere now. The manifold is all back on. That's the hardest job done. Both of the lambda sensors are plugged back in. Now it's just a matter of getting everything back where it used to be and trying to figure out where it all went. We've got the intake, we've got the coolant tank, we've got the air box, this heat shield bracket thing, whatever that is. That might even stay off, to be fair. And whatever this bracket is, has all got to go back on. But we're on the final stretch. After this job, there's only a couple more bits to take care of before we can get this car to the MOT station and find out if it's going to pass or how much more is actually wrong with it. If there's too much wrong with it, it might not even warrant putting this car back on the road. But there's only one way we're going to find that out, and that's getting these jobs completed. So let's carry on, let's get everything back together, and then we can move on to the last 2 jobs. I think we've got 2 more jobs before we can actually drive this thing. Let's go.
So far, everything had gone pretty smoothly. Although I had to break the grinder out to cut off that rounded bolt, nothing really had gone wrong. But then, as I was refitting the power steering reservoir and that coolant expansion tank, I ran into a pretty big issue.
This car is the gift that keeps on giving. So, as you'd have seen, I was putting the coolant expansion tank back in place, and whatever this is, looks like a charcoal canister. I'm not entirely sure what that actually is. I put it all back together, then I realised under the coolant tank, on that bracket, there's 2 little kind of seating positions for the actual tank itself, and I forgot to put them on. So, off camera, I took it all back off, and then I re-put it on all nice and neat. In doing that, as you can see here, this little coolant return hose for the coolant tank goes down, it's down here, and then it should kind of clip in to a T-piece that connects this coolant kind of outlet here to this coolant pipe here. As I was trying to get this all back in place, it snapped off the pipe. That piece is meant to be on there, and this pipe goes like so, and it snapped off. So I've took it all apart. Luckily, thank you to Motorstop, because I rang them and they have sorted it all out. All I've got to do is go pick the part up. The only place I can get it from is BMW. So for now, I can't really go any further. There's no point trying to make something work when I could just wait till tomorrow, put that piece back in, get it all back together and do the rest. I might as well just get the piece and then carry on. So we'll go get that tomorrow, and hopefully we can get this job done, and then the other 2 jobs shouldn't take very long at all. So cut to tomorrow. And just like that, we are at BMW Stratstone to pick up the part that I need for the Mini. Hopefully it's arrived in time. Absolute rizzle. Right, let's go get this sorted. Okay, we're on to the final stretch now before we can get this car completed. Massive thank you again to Motorstop for sorting that out and getting the part so fast. We can now install this back down here and then carry on putting everything back together. We've got the airbox to go in, the coils and the little, whatever that's called, for the HT leads back on. Not actually loads more left to do on the engine bay. We can drop the car back on the floor and get on with the final 2 jobs. This car should be finished and ready today, and then Monday we've got the MOT booked, which is going to be the verdict. So let's get this all back together and then we'll get on to the next jobs.
I'm now onto the final stretch. I can start by refitting that little T-piece to the coolant flange, and then it's just a matter of getting all of the components bolted back to where I took them out of. I noticed that the intake pipe had come loose, so I'm going to refit that. I'm going to refit the power steering reservoir, attach that coolant expansion tank again, and this time everything has gone A-OK. I can now get the HT leads and them coils plugged back in, and of course the airbox, and that's pretty much everything back in the engine bay. Last job now is to refit the battery and hope that this car starts.
Okay, battery is back on, and I think everything in the engine bay is plugged in and ready to go. All I'm going to do is quickly fill it up with a little bit of coolant, because we've lost some by taking this out. And then I'm going to try and start it and make sure that it does start. I'm pretty sure I've not forgot anything. Both lambda sensors are plugged in, the HT leads are plugged in, coils are plugged in, the bottom lambda sensors plugged in. I'm pretty sure we are good to go, but there always could be something that I've missed. So let me fill it up with coolant and then we're going to try and turn it on. Okay, we should be good to go. Here we go, moment of truth. 2 things. I hope the car starts, and I hope it isn't stupidly loud, but I guess we're about to find out. We're running very lumpy. Yeah, we're running very lumpy. And we've got an engine light on. What have I forgot to plug in? That was very lumpy indeed.
I decided to have a little bit of an investigation and just see if I'd missed anything or left anything unplugged, and I didn't. So I thought I'd break out the scan tool and just see what that engine light is saying, because that definitely wasn't there before. Camshaft sensor, bank 1, cylinder 3 misfire. They are the two fault codes that we've got coming up, which we definitely didn't have before I messed around with it. So, what have I done wrong? I think I might have found it. So, I've just realised these are actually labelled. So, this is 1, which is going to 1. This is 2, which is going to 2. This one is 3, which is going to 4. So, I've simply put the wrong coil pack in the wrong cylinder. Rookie mistake, that's because I'm rushing. Okay, let's try this again. Success, and there's no horrible blow, obviously, because it's been welded up. It actually sounds pretty nice, I've got to be honest. Has the engine light gone off? It hasn't, but we can now erase them codes because we have sorted that problem. The engine is sounding very healthy. That will just be WD-40. The engine's sounding pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how that's sounding. Thank God for that. I thought something had gone majorly wrong then, but the Mini is alive. What an absolute result. Sounds really good. Right, I guess we're on to the last couple of jobs and then we can actually drive it. The Mini is almost complete and it's almost ready to actually take it on its first drive for the first time in 3 years, but there's 2 jobs left to do. The first one is of course number plates. We need a set of number plates for this car because for some reason it doesn't have them on, but more importantly we need some number plate lights. Now I've already took off the little casings and there's just no bulbs in these whatsoever. Why, I don't know. There's just no number plate lights at all. So I've gone out and got some of them, and I'm hoping that there's not a problem with any of the wiring or anything, and it is just the fact that these have got no bulbs in them that they've been taken out. So I guess we're about to find out. So all I'm going to do is refit 2 brand new bulbs and just hope that that works. The left one turned on straight away, but the right one was a little bit temperamental. So I got some Scotch-Brite out, sanded the connections down, and that was that job sorted. The last job is to just put the plates on, which actually came in the boot and I didn't realise before. And now they're on, that's pretty much the Mini complete and ready for its MOT. Well, there we go. As far as I'm concerned, that is the Mini ready for its MOT, and that is going to be the next step for this car. We've booked it in for Monday at 2:45, so it gives me the morning to go round, do a few checks and make sure that this car is going to make it through the MOT. What will get found on the MOT, I don't know. I've done everything that I know needed doing to this car, so I guess from now we've just got to cross our fingers and hope that this car actually passes, and then it's time for it to go and we can move on to the next one. Let's go. The time has come. It's finally time to get this car through an MOT, and I hope that it does pass. I'm hoping that when I drive it for the first time, a little bit of the rust on the brake discs kind of goes away, because I can't really drive it unless it's to the MOT station. So we're going to take the Mini on its first drive on the public roads in 3 years, and we're just going to hope that it gets through its MOT. Let's go. Do you know what? I did genuinely think this would drive a lot worse than it actually does. From the suspension, there's no knocks, there's no bangs. I mean, it handles pretty well, to be honest. there is a rotational noise coming from the rear. I think it's where the discs just need to kind of wear off that corrosion. I hope anyway, so yeah. If I pull the handbrake up a tiny bit, you can hear how bad that actually is. I just hope that it's not a wheel bearing. I hope that it's not something other than just the discs being quite corroded from where it's been sat, but I guess we're about to find out. I've checked all the lights on the outside, everything works. We've got washer fluid, I've checked everything that I can pretty much check. I guess we're just gonna have to pray that this passes its MOT. It drives pretty good, to be honest. It's actually aligned. I've not put my foot down and tested any of the power or anything because it's just not worth the risk. I'm going to drive it to the MOT station, get it in for its MOT, and then we'll see about having some fun if it passes. But for now, we'll get it to the MOT station. Here we go, let's go over a speed bump and see. Yeah, no knocks, no bangs, nothing. It's actually decent. Again, yeah, actually very, very surprising, to be honest. Feels very good on the road, actually. Yeah, you know what, the suspension and everything feels pretty good. I thought there'd be quite a few knocks and bangs. I thought it'd be a little bit ropey for some reason, but no, it's actually driving really, really nice. I guess it doesn't really matter though until it's got an MOT. So we're about 5 minutes away now. Let's get it in for its MOT and let's just keep our fingers crossed. Come on, Mini. Okay, moment of truth. We're about to pull up to the MOT station and it's no longer in my hands. At least the manifold is all good. It's not blowing or anything like that, which is a good sign. Right, this is it. Let's keep our fingers crossed and let's hope that this Mini passes its MOT.
3 years is a pretty long time for a car to be off the road and not being driven. And with putting it through an MOT, it's gonna find everything that could be potentially wrong with this car. So all I've got to do is sit back and hope that it passes.
Right, here we go, moment of truth. After 3 years, can the Mini make it back on the road? Let's keep our fingers crossed. Apart from the rotational noise, I've not noticed anything major that would mean this car had failed. So, let's find out. Okay, the results are in, and unfortunately, the Mini has failed, and I thought it was going to be worse. Let me show you. It has the advisories for the brake pipes being corroded, hydraulic leak but not excessive, indicator slightly discoloured on the front, subframe corroded, and also track rod end and brake pipe and brake pad, which I don't think is too bad. Something I didn't notice is for some reason there is no brake pad in that caliper. No brake pad whatsoever. So I've got two options. So far this car owes me £852. Now I think we could still probably sell this for maybe 1,700, 1,800 if it does pass an MOT. Now, for me to insure this car, to get it to and from the MOT station, it costs £35 each way because you've got to insure it for an hour. This is just going to be on a temporary policy every time it needs to be driven. There's no point putting a full policy on this car. So, I've got two options. I either leave the car here and get the mechanics to fix all this, and it's probably going to cost about 2 hours labour and parts, so we're probably looking at about maybe £200 to get everything sorted right now, and I leave the car here. Or I pay another £35 to go home, buy all the parts, fit them all myself, spend another £35 to get the car back, put it through its MOT. That obviously will take an hour, then have to pay another £35 to get it back home, which is going to come to about £100 anyway. So I think with the profit that we have still got in this car, it makes sense for me to leave it here, let the mechanics do the work on it, and then at the end we will add up how much everything has cost in the next video when we get the next car, because I think I've already got a buyer for this one as long as it is roadworthy. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So yes, the Mini has failed, but we just need the brake pads putting in on the rear we need the brake pipe sorting and a track rod end. The rest of them are advisories, and I'm not going to worry too much about them. So for now, the Mini is going to stay here, and we'll probably do a second channel video with a little bit of an update on this car once it is all done and we come and pick it up. So for now, the Mini hasn't passed, but everything we've done to it has been successful. So we'll leave the Mini here and we'll pick it up when everything is done. If you did enjoy this video, please like, comment and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
You wear a hat they call dad. Me, I'm the dad in a hat. You just like clubbing and clothes. Me, I like afternoon naps. 3 I be missed for the road. My oldest like counting racks. My middle one, she's in a dirt bike. My youngest is just like a mama. The mama loves me and I love her, so if she wants something, it's never a bother. 3 little ladies.